So today on this conversation, we have a very illustrious profile. He's right now the managing director of Planview and an authority in the global capability center space. So welcome to this podcast, ma'am. And we could just briefly start with you telling a bit about your academic journey, your career choices, and your corporate journey.
Sure. Thank you, Anurag, first of all, for inviting me, and a pleasure to be here. And you used big words like illustrious. Hopefully, I can share more from my past journey. But born, raised, educated in Bangalore, very much a Bangalore girl. But had the opportunity to work across multiple global locations, lived in multiple countries. I think came back home, which is Bangalore. So I think I've had the opportunity of looking at both India and the fintech journey for the last 2.5 decades through this whole lens of by being within India and by being outside India. So I think it's a phenomenal journey. So you asked me about my past. By education an engineer, but moved into the profession as an engineer and continued into all parts of software development life cycle. So I kind of went from engineering to product management to strategy, business development, and overall life cycle of managing customers and being part of the business teams. So today I have the opportunity of running all of these teams in this seat. And I think Bangalore has also as a city has really evolved both from a career opportunity standpoint for people and how the industry is evolving. So a lot more we can talk about, but that's been the journey so far.
What has been your experience at Planview? What are the kind of experiences you all plan to give to engineers or management graduates who want to join your global capability centers? So that would be one question which I will have.
Of course, I think we've very consciously and deliberately have built and are building a very engineering driven culture. What does that mean? Clearly, PlanView is a core product organization. And in any product development organization, it is not just about technical skills. It's really that expertise that you have to build in building a long standing, enduring product, right? Because a product is something which doesn't have an end date. It stays through your life, which means as you build it, the talent that you bring in focuses a lot more on depth, almost T-shaped skill, the depth in the engineering itself, but the top of the T comes in terms of how do you align what you know as engineering and technology and a solution that you're building to a real business problem. So and that's been my own journey as well. So more and more you connect with your technology to the real problem you're solving. It is not about the lines of code you write, it's not about which language you're learning, but really what are the problems you're solving and are you solving it the most efficiently? I think that's where the real power of engineering comes, and that excellence in engineering will drive any company. It is not about the number of people in your team, it's really what each person brings to the team. So I think that's the culture. And for from a management school standpoint, we have a lot of functions such as product management, professional services, and these are the managed services. These are the teams that really look at management graduates as part of our staff and workforce. And these management graduates, again, closer to business, closer to solving problems, not only for today, but also for tomorrow. I think these are the two principles that we work with. And it's been phenomenal to continue to grow this team in Planview here. And in the last 1 year, we've had a massive growth, and that has brought in a host of new energy, new talent. And we're also building a lot of young and fresh talent that's coming out, which has its own charm. And what you can do with that talent is that moldability and their hunger and energy, especially with the newer domains that we are bringing in, is a very, very unique combination. Most of us in the industry are working through that. So I'm excited to build that more for Planview.
How different will it be for someone to work in a product-led company as compared to someone in a services-led company? Look, what could be the typical nuances that are involved in either side of the table?
Typically, when you look at working in a product development organization, product genuine true product organizations have a few characteristics. One is you have teams which are persistent, which means that You stay in a team, you learn, you build depth, you build expertise in a particular product, in a particular line of technology or business, and more depth you build, that enhances your growth. So that's a very, very important trait. While in services organizations, breadth makes a lot of difference along with depth. But the depth there is the talent there you need is a lot of context switching because you're working in a project oriented model. You're moving from one project to another project. It could be the same customer, multiple customers. So what you do really is that you have a start date, end date, you have diligence to finishing something, and then you are moving on to the next. So as you switch context, somewhere depth is different. You are building the skill of connecting the dots a lot more than depth in one particular area. But the ability that you need there is really be able to keep switching context and keep delivering things on time. While in product, while you continue to do that, you have to continue to build depth. That's number one. Number two, projects have an end date. Products don't typically if they're doing well. So, which means the products continue to evolve into newer and newer models, newer avatars, newer versions, which means everything you are building, number one, the concept is you build once and reuse it for multiple customers. That's the whole product context, right? So when you are building, you're thinking of a holistic set of requirements. You're building for something that lasts for a long time, and you're building something where you, as less you build, more it should be reusable. So think of it
Hmm.
this way, right? If a product is more mature, you really are not adding on too many lines of code, but what you're doing is you're tweaking, you're making sure you're solving a lot more problems with as much minimal so-called code being written. That's a different skill. But when you're in a project, it's about delivering to that requirement. Yes, you can influence the requirements more and more you understand in that context of customer, but and it will also be long lasting for that customer, but it's typically a single customer kind of a view. Okay, so that's second. And the third element would be, if you are in a product driven culture, the way agile model works, and so I'm going to use a little bit of technical terms. So typically agile development model is very, very oriented towards product oriented operating model, because when you're agile, you're coming together, your customer, your technology skills, your UI and UX skills, all of this are coming together as one single team or a squad, and then you're continuing to build something, and you continue to build and add value, go to the market, expand. But the same agile, a lot of times project oriented models can have waterfall, but you can also deliver in agile manner. But the overall engagement typically stays in waterfall, which essentially means a lot of business and customer context stays in one part of the organization. The product, the development and engineering stays in another part of the organization. So it's a different way of working, right? So I can keep going, but these are kind of the top level, I would say, differences.
In the yesteryears, where managers would insist that people come to their office and work under their supervision, now the focus has shifted on the deliverables. So from that perspective, in terms of careers in technology, in specific, where do you see the next 5 years being? Like, would coding and large be done by ML, etc.? So where would humans really add value? Would be one quick question.
I think this is a debate everybody is going through. Yesterday, I was in a conference, and I think this leader mentioned this. So it's a very important statement. So he said, AI is a genie which is out of the bottle. You can't put it back in, which means that it is going to change the way all of us look at this whole industry and organization. So let's start with that. But does it mean that the way today we are operating as engineers and the technology world will change? Yes. Will it change in the next 5 years incrementally? 10 years down the line, will the world look the same? It won't. But what does that mean for us, a role of humans? I think it's a larger debate. My personal philosophy is that this will continue to empower us as humans, but it is just going to challenge us that much more to become far better. And that will be a race. So, like any other evolution, it will be survival of the fittest. So, for us to be on the fittest, we have to upskill, reskill as fast as possible. Having said that, human in the loop, I think, is going to remain for a very long time. Because what is happening is artificial intelligence is questioning what intelligence really means, which means it's not just about copying what we do today as jobs, but it can do so much more, which means what we can do can be so much more. So the leaders who can make that leap and take the teams along, I think will be the ones who will survive. So the world that is in today, I think, is going to change, is already changing. But the everybody asks as a black and white, will it change for good or will it change not so for good? In my mind, change is always good, but it just challenges, and we have to really push ourselves to go through this change. The difference this time is the speed of change is much, much faster.
What it has done in the last 1 year in terms of achievements and in terms of hiring pipeline, because there are a lot of people who would be watching probably this podcast with the view that they want to understand what are your hiring plans.
Planview is a SaaS company, enterprise SaaS organization. We build products, platforms, and solutions to help with work management, portfolio management, resource management, and entire planning and execution for all organizations. We have about 4,500 customers who are large organizations. Fortune 60 of 100 globally are our customers. We service almost every sector from banking, finance to auto to oil and gas, real estate, manufacturing, pharma, life sciences. We work with public sector institutions, so it's a very sector agnostic opportunity for working across all of this is humongous. And again, as product driven organizations, we definitely build for depth, we build for long term. So in the last year, as I mentioned, we in India, we went through a massive upsurge in terms of growth. This was part of an internal transformation we were going through, as well as really doubling down on India as both a talent strategy and also as a go-to-market for us, India as a market. So with that, what we have done is we have built large engineering and product development teams along with large services and other teams. Our growth plan will continue, and but the way product driven organizations grow is both in terms of maturity of what all can you handle in product development lifecycle out of a center, but also bringing on new talent. And new talent, I think, will come in both on the core engineering, which is developing and managing our large platforms that we have, which are also going through modernizations. So a lot of microservices based architecture which is coming in. Then we are going through a massive user experience redesign, so that talent is coming in. Then we're rebuilding our entire platform because we continue to grow by creating more and more capabilities into Planview platform, and the platform development is another opportunity. All of these are core engineering mainstream skills. Plus, we continue to invest in our data science capability. So that's another revenue for growth. And all of this is obviously supported by our DevOps capability. And we have doubled down on AWS being our preferred platform of choice. So that's another set of talent which has grown, and we will continue to keep it running. I would say these are some of the larger skills when it comes to specific technology. On the management side of the house, I think we have, like I said, we have product management, we have professional services, multiple flavors of professional services functions that happen where folks with management experience will be really, really important. I would say today, engineer is at the foundation and also at the future of the entire universe, because it's no longer a technology related function. Engineering pretty much has now penetrated almost every single facet of human life. So
Engineering, it appears, really is the place to be in the next 5 years, especially I think Planview, where you all are really doing great stuff on the GCC capability front. And I think any viewer who wants to learn more around products, fintech, global capability centers, can follow Shalini ma'am on her LinkedIn handle. And yeah, that's how we can take this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Anurag. If I may just say, you haven't missed much today. Everybody can be an engineer thanks to AI. So irrespective of the background. So with that, thank you again for inviting me.